Afternoon, everyone. Without much ado, let's begin the technical sessions. So, I am privileged to invite Dr. Venkateshappa C., Professor, Department of Biochemistry, Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, to chair the next session, which is by Dr. Rupal Dalal ma'am on role of mitochondria in holistic health with special focus on mental health. Dr. C. Venkateshappa is a professor and AHS coordinator in the Department of Biochemistry at Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, Muddenahalli. With a rich research background that includes work at NIMHANS and other institutions, Dr. Venkateshappa has over 2 decades of teaching and research experience in biochemistry. He holds a PhD from NIMHANS and has contributed extensively to the study of brain aging, oxidative stress, and related disorders through numerous publications in reputed journals. He has also served as an external examiner for several universities and delivered guest lectures and presentations at national and international forums. A life member of multiple professional bodies, Dr. Venkateshappa's expertise in academic leadership make him an invaluable guide as chairperson for this session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Sandhya. It is my privilege to introduce our speaker, Dr. Rupal Dalal ma'am. Dr. Rupal Dalal is a US-trained pediatrician and adjunct associate professor at Center for Technology Alternative in rural areas, IIT Bombay. She leads the health spoken tutorial teams at IIT Bombay, creating more than 100 multilingual tutorials on maternal, infant, and young child nutrition in 15 Indian constitutional languages and 6 tribal languages. She pioneered MIYCN clinics through partnerships with Foundation for Mother and Child Health and Srimati Malati Dahankar Trust, and established the Human Milk Bank at Wadia Children Hospital with the community support. Dr. Dalal is a consultant multiple state and districts for malnutrition programs, and is widely published, having contributed to research papers, books, and magazines. I invite Dr. Rupal Dalal to deliver our talk.
Can I get my mic? Can take any mic? Oh. Oh, I have this. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Yeah, just wanted to wake you up. Okay. Today is an important topic, mitochondria. Do we know what is mitochondria? Powerhouse. What happens when there is a disorganization of powerhouse? What happens? When the powerhouse doesn't function well, what happens? Destruction, right? So here I'm going to talk today about just mitochondria, and we'll go into basics of mitochondria. What is mitochondria? Okay. So all your metabolic disease. So metabolic diseases are your diabetes, blood pressure, all these other diseases, you know, PCOD, PCOS, mental disorders. There are a lot of metabolic disorders. Basically they're influenced by various factors, including, you know, your sedentary lifestyle, what kind of food you eat, you know, unbalanced diet, ultra processed food, you know, hormonal imbalances, environmental factors. Those are called epigenetic factors also, and it often leads to development of low grade inflammation. So when we say inflammation, right, when you fall down, there is some amount of inflammation, right? Your skin becomes red, you become like, you know, you have a little bit of inflammation, red, it becomes hot. That is called acute inflammation. But when you have this kind of disease, you have something called chronic inflammation. So this chronic inflammation is basically coming from, primarily from mitochondrial dysfunction. So when you have chronic inflammation, you will have all kind of disease. It could be cancer, it could be mental illness, it could be anything, okay. So how you going to basically, how does this inflammation start, that I am going to teach you today. And this inflammatory states are sort of a presence of oxidative stress. Now, Madam just mentioned that Sir has done PhD in oxidative stress, right? So, obviously, he will also help me with what is this oxidative stress and how it starts. That is what we will discuss today. Okay, what is this? This is for the students in the back. Mitochondria. So, here you see it, this is mitochondria, okay, beautiful structure. There is one organelle in the back, it is round in shape, that is nucleus. Nucleus is again like a king of cell, I would call it, okay. In the back over there, do you see over that yellow color? That is your endoplasmic reticulum, okay. And here you have something called lysozyme. So, these are all the organelles of the cell. Each and every organ is made up of billions of cells. So, we are made up of small cells, and each cell has all these organelles, very, very critical, okay. And if you want to have good cellular mechanism or mechanistic, you want to have all these cellular organelles to be functioning very well. If your powerhouse, which is your mitochondria, is not functioning, you will get all kind of disease, okay. Alright, now let us discuss what is powerhouse, structure of mitochondria. So, this is when you cut the mitochondria, okay, this is what you see, it is made up of 2 layers, okay. These 2 layers are basically predominantly fat, it is fat membrane, it has some interspersed protein molecule in it. But you see this is the membrane outside, do you see this is the membrane outside, and you see there is another membrane which is inside. Do you see that? So, it is made up of basically bilipid membrane, okay. Now, you can see little bit of space between outer membrane and inner membrane, that space is called intermembrane, that is called intermembrane, okay. Now, do you see this structure over here? It is convoluted, right, that is also called cristae. It is cristae, and on that cristae membrane you have something called electron transport chain. Electron transport chain, that means it transports electron, and where does this electron come from? Anybody? Do you know where does the electron come from? Because it has to be, you know, you have to have electron to get your ATP. ATP is your, your powerhouse, right? It is giving you power, energy. But where are those electrons coming from? Those electrons are coming from the food you eat. So, what food you eat will basically give fuel to your powerhouse and will either keep it healthy or it will make you unhealthy. Got it? Okay. I do not have many doctors, that is why I am teaching the students. Alright. So, here inside, do you see that inside the convoluted space, do you see all this? Over there are 2 kind of DNA. One DNA is basically mitochondrial DNA, okay, which comes from your mother, okay, and another DNA you have is called nuclear DNA, nuclear. So, you have a DNA which is made in your nucleus, which was the organ which I showed you in the back, right. So, both those DNAs are very important, okay, and then you have some other ribosomes, you have other electron transport chain, you have everything, okay. Now, this mitochondrial respiration is called aerobic respiration. What do you mean respiration? Respiration means like breathe in and out. So, when you breathe, what do you breathe in? Air, and from air what do you get in your lungs? What get absorbed? Loudly, I can't hear you. Right. Now, why do you have oxygen? What happens if you do not have oxygen? What happens when you do not have oxygen? You die, right? Why? Because when you do not have oxygen, what will stop? Your electron transport chain will stop, okay. Once it stops, basically you die, alright. So, here your respiration, this is aerobic, aerobic means with oxygen you are respiring, and that respiration occurring where? At a mitochondrial level, it is happening in the mitochondria. So, that is why it is called aerobic respiration, okay. So, what happens in aerobic respiration? It is an efficient process by which organism like us, anybody who is living, use oxygen to turn fuel, such as fats and sugar. So whatever food that you're eating, right, your fat, sugar, everything, that basically gets converted into fuel, okay, and it gives out something called energy. And energy comes out in the form of ATP. So that's how basically your mitochondria is producing ATP. Very efficient way of making those fuels, okay. All right. Now this efficiency, aerobic respiration is much more efficient when you have oxygen. When you don't have oxygen, that is called anaerobic respiration. When you have anaerobic respiration, you will not have efficient way of producing ATP. Okay? So that's why you have to use your mitochondria basically to get a really good generation of ATP. Okay. Now this oxidative phosphorylation, which is your aerobic respiration, it is made up of two steps. One, I remember I told you there is electron which is getting transported, right? So that is called electron transport chain, and there is another process is called chemoosmosis or chemiosmosis, okay, that is generating your ATP. So this is a two process. Now if you can hack this two process, you can hack your health. Is anybody a hacker over here, software hacker? Somebody who can kind of do some quick AI and generate something? If you learn how to hack mitochondria, you will live for 100 years. Do you guys want to live for 100 years or no? Without medicine, without getting any diabetes and blood pressure, and without getting any tummy. Okay? So this is, you guys have to learn, it's very easy. Okay? Now, so let's talk about what is oxidative phosphorylation. Okay. Now suppose if your oxidative phosphorylation does not work or there is a dysfunction, look at all the problems which you can develop. You can get metabolic disease like diabetes, obesity, stress, you get trauma, thermoregulation, you get immunological problem, you can get infection, inflammation, fever, autoimmune conditions, you can get aging, you can age very fast. So you will start getting wrinkles when you're 30-year-old, 25-year-old, you'll start looking old, right? Then you have cancer. The risk of cancer increases when you have mitochondrial dysfunction, okay? And do you know nowadays like the colon cancer has increased a lot? Do you know a lot of young people are getting cancer, right? And that's because probably their mitochondrial dysfunction. And then there are a lot of other problems like degenerative disease, like neurological problem, Alzheimer's, dementia. These are all basically mitochondrial disease actually, okay? There are cardiac conditions, muscular problem, renal problem. These are all the problems, and now latest research says that even the mental illnesses are mitochondrial problem. So if anybody who has anxiety, anybody who has depression, anybody who has, any of those bipolar disorder, actually they are saying that this is a mitochondrial problem. Okay, so imagine how important it is to take care of a mitochondria. Okay, all right. Now, do you know what is this? Have you seen this circle anywhere? Yes or no? Yes, what is this? Krebs cycle, very good. So, where does this Krebs cycle occur? Mitochondria. Where? Which part of mitochondria? Mitochondrial matrix. Okay, so that the oxaloacid occurring in mitochondrial matrix. Do you see that top one, acetyl-CoA? Do you see that acetyl-CoA over here? Do you see it? Where does this acetyl-CoA come from? Because it has to, this particular cycle is going to give you molecule which will have electrons, your NADH and FADH2, right? That's why your acetyl-CoA has to enter this Krebs cycle to give you NADH, it has to give electrons, right? Because those electrons will go to your mitochondria. So what is this acetyl-CoA? Where does it come from? Boys and girls in the back. Where does those electrons come from? From food. So it comes from two, your glucose, it can come from your glucose or it can come from your fat, okay? When you are eating protein, protein will enter through another enzyme. So your alpha ketoglutarate, basically protein will enter from that, okay? But mainly your acetyl-CoA comes either from sugar or from glucose, or it comes from your fat. Now what happens when you eat a lot of glucose? What happens when you have a lot of glucose? When you have a lot of food which is high in carbohydrate? What increases in your body? Which hormone increases? Insulin, very good. So this students are very smart. Huh? I thought I was talking to really very good. So let's talk about now glycolysis. Glycolysis mean your glucose molecule is getting converted into 2 molecule of pyruvate. Pyruvate will get converted into acetyl-CoA. Okay, and that acetyl-CoA will enter your mitochondria, will give electrons through NADH and FADH2, that will enter your electron transport chain. Okay, so here I am teaching you how this mitochondria produce energy. Okay, so here you can see this is the step of glycolysis, very important. Okay, all right. Now here look at this, C6 is the 6th carbon atom, glucose. Do you see this C6? That's a glucose molecule. It gets converted into 2 molecule of pyruvic acid. Now 2 molecule of pyruvic acid can either enter mitochondria or it can enter and basically enter into anaerobic respiration. What was anaerobic respiration? Without oxygen, and it can get converted into lactic acid. So many mental cycle and not the Krebs cycle. Anyone? Because there is a mitochondria dysfunction. Because your mitochondria is not functioning, now that pyruvic acid is going into your lactic acid. So remember the lactic acid, okay? I will come back to it. Okay, now that pyruvate now is entering your Krebs cycle. So do you see this? This is the mitochondria. Do you see this mitochondria? This is the matrix of mitochondria. So this is your matrix, and that matrix basically pyruvate enter and get converted into acetyl-CoA. Okay. Now let's move on forward. Now what is electron transport chain? This is the chain in your inner membrane of mitochondria which accepts electron, and it basically carries electron from one complex to another complex. So have you heard of ETC earlier in your this thing? Okay. So ETC, also called electron transport chain, is made up of 4 multi-protein complexes from 1 to 4. Okay. So here we see this is 1 to 4 complexes. These complexes are basically there on your inner membrane of mitochondria. Okay. So you have complex 1, you have complex 2, complex 3 and complex 4. This basically is your electron transport chain. Okay. Okay. Now these complexes are made up of electron carriers. Now remember I told you through Krebs cycle you are making your NADH and FADH2. You are making, and it has electrons. Okay. So now those NADH and FADH2 will enter your electron transport chain, okay, and will give out electrons to complex 1. So your NADH will give out electrons to complex 1, and we will see that. Okay, here, so let's see. Okay, here, look at this. So this is complex 1, complex 2, complex 3, complex 4, there you go. So what is happening as the electrons, here again I'll show you. See, NADH is giving electrons to complex 1, then from 1 it is going to 3, then it is going to 4, right. Now as the electrons are passing from one complex to another one, what is happening to your protons? H plus is your protons. What is happening to your protons? Protons are basically going against the gradient, okay, and the protons are getting accumulated in your inner membrane space, intermembrane space I would call it, intermembrane space. So do you see that how proton is getting accumulated in intermembrane space? When you have lot of proton which is get accumulated in this space, then you have something called chemiosmosis. Do you see the last stage over here? Do you see the last one over here? This is not working. Huh? The last one over here, do you see? Do you see the rotator? Means it is a motor. So we have a motor, rotator in our electron transport chain, and what it does, because you have so much of accumulation of proton, that proton will move your ATP synthase, and that will produce ATP. You understand what I am saying? Beautiful mechanism, right? Now this system is called coupling of mitochondria. What is coupling of mitochondria? Means every electron that it passes through, it is generating ATP. Now imagine when you have system, when you have too many electrons going in, means you're eating too much of food, okay? Ultra processed food, lot of glucose, lot of sucrose. What will happen to this electron transport chain? Now you will have a time when some amount of electrons will leak. It will leak. It will not pass from 1 to 3 to 4, it will start leaking. Now when you have a leakage of electrons, what is the good acceptor of electron, do you know? What accepts an electron? Anyone? What are you breathing in? Oxygen. So as soon as that electron leaks, it basically the oxygen takes up that electron because that's how it is trying to protect you, okay? And as soon as the oxygen accepts the electron basically will divide oxygen into 2 molecules of superoxide anion. That's your oxidation. So it will cause basically reactive oxygen species. Do you guys know about antioxidant that you guys eat? Turmeric is good, mama says, right? Turmeric is good, this is good, green tea is good. Those are basically antioxidants. What is it doing? It is basically reducing antioxidant in your body. So what do you do which will not increase so much of oxidation? So this is how your body functions, okay? And the last stage where ATP synthesis is creating ATP, okay? That is called chemiosmosis, and you want that ATP synthesis to function very well. Now there are a lot of problems. So there are many epigenetic things which can affect your complex 1, it can affect your complex 2, 3, 4. You want to make sure that you eat right food which will not cause any problem to all this electron transport chain, otherwise you will have lot of inflammation and it will cause problem, okay. Second thing, do you see that red color dot over here? Okay, what is that? Does anybody know what is that red color dot over there? That is called CoQ10. Do you remember CoQ? Which we use it, it is very important. Generally, a lot of the statin kind of reduced at CoQ10. And what is the other circle that you see over here? Do you see this circle over here? That is called cytochrome C oxidase. This is again important because this will make your mitochondria healthy. So you try to kind of improve your cytochrome C oxidase. Okay, this is an enzyme which will improve your mitochondria. Okay, anyway, let's go next. Okay, so we discussed this already, okay. All right, now little bit more. So as we are going more and more into mitochondria, we are getting more into detail of reactive oxygen species. So here, do you see over here, I showed you the NADH gives out 2 electrons, okay, and then proton basically passes from your matrix to your intermembrane space. Do you see that? Then you have basically those electrons will pass it to 3, complex 3 and then complex 4, okay. And the last electron which is there, it will combine with your oxygen, it will make water molecule. Now remember I told you that you also create reactive oxygen species, I mentioned that, right. So do you see this red circle over there? Do you see the red circle? This is what is happening. Your oxygen is taking up your leaked electrons. Do you see that electrons? It is picked up by the oxygen, and now that oxygen will divide, okay, and it will produce basically your reactive oxygen species, okay. But God has given us some amazing antioxidants in our body. Anybody knows what are those antioxidants which God has given us? God is just amazing, really. You just need to understand what they have given and take care of it. What are some of the names of those powerful antioxidants which your body makes? Anyone? Glutathione, perfect, very good. Glutathione, what else? Catalase enzyme, very powerful, okay. Dismutase, this is also very powerful, superoxide dismutase, powerful antioxidant. If you can keep your body healthy, you will not need to eat anything outside which will increase your antioxidant. You keep your body healthy, keep your electrons very stable, try not to put in too much of food which is causing disruption of your mitochondrial membrane. You understand what I am saying? Okay, so this was good. Chalo, next. This is again your powerful antioxidant that your body creates. Okay, so this is how your reactive oxygen species will convert it into water and you know, your oxygen. Okay, very good. Now one more point, which is this one. I'm going to now again go a little bit detail. So do you see that last one next to your ATP synthesis? You see this one? What is it? Uncoupling protein. Remember once before I discussed about coupling of mitochondria, coupling, every electron will give you ATP. Now this one, what is happening in uncoupling protein, some amount of proton like H plus is going and there is no generation of ATP. Now whatever proton is getting leaked, do you know what happens when the proton gets leaked? Is it good thing or bad thing? Is it good or bad? When the proton gets leaked, is it good or bad? Anybody tell me? And what happens when the proton gets leaked? This means now you are using your energy without causing any damage. Okay? Plus it will generate some heat. So lot of time when you feel very cold, and that means your UCP is not working. Okay, but when you want lot of heat, you want, you know, your BMR to increase, right, basal metabolic rate, you want to have that UCP, uncoupling protein. Now many conditions, you know, and the use of UCP, it will decrease the it will decrease the proton motive force, and it will reduce reactive oxygen species. So that is important for UCP. Okay, so this is again UCP I mentioned. You know, there are a lot of studies done in animal model where they found if UCP is increased, those patients have reduced amount of reactive oxygen species. Okay, now let's look at mitochondria. The reason I am discussing this because tomorrow I will discuss what are the tools that you can use to improve your mitochondria. So you need to understand a little bit more about mitochondria. So there is something called fusion and fission. What is fusion? Fusion means fuse together, coming together, okay, and fission means dividing, okay. So mitochondria has a beautiful mechanism of combining together and fission, okay, dividing. So let's see why is it important. So here, whenever you have a damaged mitochondria, again God has a beautiful way of protecting you. What it will do, when you have a damaged mitochondria, it will basically remove the damaged mitochondria part, so the mother mitochondria will divide into good mitochondria and the damaged mitochondria, okay. So that is basically your fission. And what happens when you are working out very hard, when you are doing lot of exercise, when you are using your power, you need more mitochondria. So you have another mechanism where basically fusion will occur, okay, and then that will stimulate more energy. It will give you more energy, okay. So this is the beautiful way that God has given you. If it damages, it will clear it out, okay, to a certain extent, okay. Now autophagy. Do you know what is autophagy? Autophagy means recycling, right? Do you recycle or no? Do you recycle? When you have a waste paper, do you recycle? And what do you do with that recycling? Do you know what do they do with recycling of plastic, recycling of that? They make something new. Similarly, we have a beautiful mechanism in our body which God has given us, that something which is dead, something which is not functioning, something which can cause cancer, something which can cause Alzheimer's, can get recycled. And that recycling is called autophagy. And what causes autophagy? Auto means self, phagy means to eat, means your body is eating your dead cells. So if you have wrinkles, if you have any other, some cancer cells, one condition will induce you autophagy. Do you know which condition which will give you autophagy? Anyone? When you start eating on your own cells, the bad cells, which condition? Fasting. So that's why, every religion has fasting. That's the reason. Because when you fast, all your dead cells will recycle, okay. So here is the whole condition. I won't go too much in detail. Now function. Now people feel that mitochondria gives energy, that's it, and they are done with it. No, mitochondria has many more function. Okay, so let's go into a lot of functions. Okay, it produces energy, which I mentioned already. Okay, it metabolizes your fat, protein through acetyl-CoA, which I mentioned already. It stores calcium. So it's important for storing calcium because calcium is very critical for cell signaling activities. Okay, and it regulates your calcium in a cell. Then it generates heat. Remember I was telling you about UCP, okay, uncoupling protein. So it increases your uncoupling protein and basically that will give you warmth, it will give you generate heat. Then it is also important for cell growth, cell differentiation. It also maintain and balance your reactive oxygen species. It is involved in making steroid hormone. What are the steroid hormones, do you guys know? Do you know any steroid hormones? Testosterone, estrogen, what are the other? Lot of steroid hormones are there, right? Okay, it repairs your DNA damage. What happens when you don't have a repairing management? What happens when your DNA gets damaged and there is no repairing system? Cancer, right? Then you have, it also causes cell death. Means if there is any cell which is not functioning, it will cause programmed cell death. So mitochondria is important for those cell death also. Then regulation of neurotransmitters. Now neurotransmitters are important for your mental illnesses. So it regulates your neurotransmitter. It is also involved in aging. So it will prevent aging if you're making sure that mitochondria is working, and it will regulate immunity. So if you keep getting infection after infection, that means your mitochondria is not functioning. Okay. All right. So these are all the functions that I have. Won't go too much in detail. This is what mitochondria is doing over here. It has basically beautiful system where it get all the signal from blood vessels, then it basically talks to all the other organelles like your nucleus and other organelles, and then it will give out the output. Okay, so this is how your mitochondria functions. Beautiful. Okay, all right. So here again, you know, input, signaling and output. So these are all the things that it does. We already discussed about it. We won't go too much in detail. These are all the functions of mitochondria. If mitochondria dysfunction, you will have problem with all these other issues. Okay. Now, what are the problems if you have mitochondrial dysfunction? You will have oxidative stress, DNA mutation, you will have altered energy, impaired mitophagy. Mitophagy is autophagy, right? Okay. Now, do you know that in worldwide, 4 out of 10 people have disability of neuropsychiatric disorder. So what are the disorders do you know? Neuropsychiatric disorder, basically schizophrenia, bipolar, major depressive disorder. Okay, these are 3 mains that they are discussing, WHO is discussing. Okay, now there is a clear-cut evidence of metabolic syndrome in individual with bipolar disease. Okay, it is much higher in people who have bipolar disease. Means there are a lot of research coming out and they are saying that people who have psychiatric disorder, they actually start with metabolic disorders. Okay, and the metabolic disorders are, what is metabolic disorder? Dysfunctional mitochondria, right? Okay, all right. So again, these are what happens in bipolar disorder. This is what it is showing, that it has lot of inflammation, lot of reactive oxygen species. You can see it when, you know, there is a your complex 1 of your ETC that is affected also in a bipolar disorder. You have lot of other problems. We don't need to go too much in detail, but just showing you that basically mitochondrial dysfunction is pretty much the hallmark of lot of this mitochondrial diseases, neuropsychiatric disease. And these are the problems that bipolar disorder has. These are all related to mitochondria. Look at the dysfunction of mitochondria. All these issues that you have, which are basically, you see it in patients. Here you can see the whole Krebs cycle and all the enzymes. Basically, many articles have shown that schizophrenia, bipolar disorder and depressive disorders, they have dysfunctions of all the ETC enzymes and your Krebs cycle enzymes. Okay, and here you can see this is in stress. So do you guys get stressed when there is exam or no? See what happens to your mitochondria when you are stressed. What happens? It increases the reactive oxygen species, it increases your cell-free circulating DNA, which is not good. Okay, it reduces your mitochondrial DNA count, it increases mutation of your DNA, mitochondrial DNA, causing all this problem, inflammation, problem with energy metabolism, oxidative stress and telomere shortening. So I won't go too much in detail, but tomorrow I will be teaching you how to hack mitochondria. So you don't get cancer, you don't get mental illnesses, you don't get problems or PCOD or infertility or any of those problems, okay. So tomorrow we'll see you, but if anybody has any question, and I would like sir to add little bit in mitochondria because you are the mitochondria master.
Sairam. Very nice talk, Dr. Rupal. This is very basic things that our students just you recollected what they have written very recently in their exams. And most of these we taught them in fact. Of course, some important points in the last few minutes you spoke, no? That is, they are very useful. Here, mitochondria, as you know, with increasing age, the number of mitochondria decreases due to oxidative stress.
Yeah.
Then now, very recently, there are few more additions to this. There are MATOs, that is mitochondrial associated translational organelles. There are sub-organelles in mitochondria. They play a key role in repairing mitochondria and its synthesis of the proteins that are what we say that complex 1, complex 2, all those. Complex 1, in fact, it is an agglomeration of 56 proteins, not one protein actually.
Amazing.
So what are the role of these proteins exactly? Even today we don't know. We don't know exactly the exact function of this mitochondria, how this generation of this energy. Previously when many of our, when we were studying, no, this energy calculations, one NADH enters ETC, three ATP molecules. Now the concept is changed, 2.5 only. So like that, there are new discoveries in this, and very nice talk you have delivered, and we are expecting you to give more tomorrow regarding what this topic that you have given.
Yeah.
Very nice. I am very happy with this.
Yeah.
Now it is open to audience to give to ask any questions. Any questions, please?
Students should ask. There, ladies? If you have PCOD, it is mitochondrial disease. Okay? That means probably there is excessive amount of electrons passing on to in electron transport chain. It is leaking and it is causing reactive oxidation. So just remember that PCOD is a mitochondrial disease. Okay. Yes, it does. But if you come tomorrow, I will teach you tool to hack it. So you'll increase your mitochondrial number and also functioning. So there are ways to hack it. Yeah. Okay. I think.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rupal.
Yeah.
Many thanks to Dr. Sandhya and the team for giving me this opportunity to chair this session. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Ensuring its smooth conduct. We are also deeply grateful to our speaker, Dr. Rupal Dalal, for sharing such valuable insights. Your contributions have greatly enriched our understanding of the topic. On behalf of the organizing committee, we extend our sincere appreciation for your time, guidance, and participation. Now I request Dr. Venkateshappa C. to present a small memento as a token of appreciation to Dr. Rupal Dalal. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. I request Dr. Deepa, organizing chairman. to present a memento to our chairperson, Dr. Venkateshappa. I request Dr. Deepa, organizing chairman, to present a memento to our chairperson, Dr. Venkateshappa C. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. With immense pleasure, I would like to invite Dr. Sunil Kumar DR, Secretary IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter, Professor and Head, Community Medicine, Akash Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, and Dr. Bharat Konan, Surgical Gastroenterologist, Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, to chair the next session, which is by Dr. Santhosh Hanumanthappa on the inner ecosystem role of gut flora in holistic health. Dr. Sunil Kumar DR, MD Community Medicine from JJMC Davangere, is a distinguished public health professional with over 21 years of experience in areas such as STI, HIV, AIDS, TB, COVID-19, nutrition, health policy, and public health research. He is currently serving as professor and head of the Department of Community Medicine and Director of Clinical Research at Akash Institute of Medical Sciences and Research Center, Bengaluru. Dr. Sunil is the President of Indian Association of Adolescent Health, Karnataka Chapter, and Secretary of the Indian Association of Preventive and Social Medicine, Karnataka Chapter. He has previously worked with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India's National AIDS Control Organization, managing care and treatment programs across Karnataka, Kerala, and Goa, and as Deputy Director at KHPT, funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, USAID, and NACO. Dr. Sunil has provided technical support to the governments of Sri Lanka and Bhutan, coordinated knowledge-sharing programs for delegates from over 15 countries, and contributed to national HIV and TB guidelines. He is a national master trainer in HIV, AIDS, and STI, has published 52 original research articles, and served as principal investigator for ICMR projects. He supervised major surveys like IBBA, PBS, and HSS in Karnataka, participated in more than 400 TV programs as an epidemiologist, and led COVID-19 response efforts at his institute and statewide committees. His contributions include developing key training modules and policy guidelines for national health programs. Dr. Bharat Konan is a surgical gastroenterologist with interest in liver and pancreatic surgeries. He has completed his master's in surgery and super specialization in surgical gastroenterology and liver transplant at the prestigious JIPMER Pondicherry, an institute of national importance under the Government of India. He has a vast experience of managing patients with irritable bowel disorder and surgical management of IBD. He is also a national teaching faculty for super specialty entrance exam, currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Surgery and running a dedicated gastroenterology unit. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce our speaker for today, for the next session, Dr. Santhosh H. Dr. Santhosh is a clinical Rasa Aushadhi Ayurveda practitioner, and he is the founder of Arogyam Natural, a holistic wellness center. He has over 4 years of experience in Ayurveda, naturopathy, and nutrition, with expertise in Panchakarma therapies such as Rakta Mokshana, Virechana, Nasya, Katibasti, and leech therapy. He has treated a wide variety of conditions, including diabetes, arthritis, irritable bowel syndrome, obesity, and diabetic wounds. He has earned multiple diplomas in Ayurveda pharmacy, Panchabhautik Chikitsa, and hospital management, and is a registered member of Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad and other professional health councils. Request you to come on stage. Thank you. We request everyone to welcome him with a warm round of applause. Thank you.
you're comfortable, you can do from here, or you can use the podium slides. You want that? Clicker. This, yeah, next is that one and back. So hi, good evening to all. So let me go through some of the probiotics. That's the major theme for this topic. It would be more traditional probiotics, what we will talk about it. And it's quite tried and tested because what we will cover in this session in terms of gut flora is more about probiotics and traditional probiotics. The agenda would be more to cover the biotics, probiotics and antibiotics, and how do you make your own probiotics from a traditional concepts. So let's run through this biotics now. And what is important is I think most of you have realized by now that your gut microbiome plays a big part in your immune system. And in fact, your gut contains almost 70% of your immune system. And how do you strengthen this is something which we want to cover in this. And what we will cover here now is in terms of how do you experience and transformative power of gut health remedies, how do you look at some of the gut-brain connections, and how the healing techniques to unlock the secrets of healing your gut. And that's what it is. But in terms of biotics, as you understand, most of you would have heard of antibiotics, but very few understands what is pre and probiotics. From a traditional recipes in terms of probiotics, and I'll also try to cover a bit of modern also there. But the gut microbiota is more important for us to make sure our mood, our digestive, and lot more factors are all dependent on our gut. So if you see some of the benefits, you pretty much, if you have abdominal pains or nausea or diarrhea, just because there is no issues, but still you experience something like this, it could be all related to your gut. So what we'll do now is in terms of your gut bacteria components, we will talk about gut microbes and how it helps your immune system and detoxification. So what is important here to understand is some of the basics, like you have symbiotics, parabiotics, and postbiotics. So all these are the terms which we use in science, but as we have less time, I will not go into the details of this. I would like to cover more on how you can make your own probiotics. So we'll get into that chapter. But as you know that there is a gut-brain axis where your lot of your gut bacteria are important in terms of your mood or in terms of your digestive and stuff like that. But what we need to understand in this whole gambit is that probiotics and prebiotics adds to the symbiotics, and postbiotics is what is the outcome of it. But we really do not focus much on probiotics and stuff like that. So we'll get into that, but most of you would have seen what are the common probiotics. Even your curd is a probiotic with lactobacillus, and you have prebiotics with a lot of the fruits or any fiber-rich food works as prebiotics. So, but where does this all come from? As we are now using a lot of antibiotics, there is always sometimes a prolonged use of antibiotics, which sometimes do disturb our gut bacteria. And sometimes it is also sometimes some of the antibiotics are not very conducive for our gut. So that's the reason why we come into prebiotics and probiotics. But just to touch quickly on the prebiotics, there are wholesome of garlics or soya beans or onions, all works as a prebiotics. They are fiber rich. But what is important is to understand probiotics. In probiotics, there are modern probiotics which have come with different strains and researches are happening. But what we want to go back is what is traditionally we have used and which is very safer, which is tried and tested for centuries. So that's where we need to jump in. And probiotics, you have already been using it, like yogurts and socaratas or pickles and stuff like that, or buttermilks. But what we are trying to now cover is, which is not very much used in terms of apple cider vinegars with mother. That's a culture which is required. And in Ayurveda, there is something called aswas and aristas, which are fermented herbal drinks. And there's something like Koreans or kimchis, which are also very popular. But if you see in a pharmaceutical way, there are probiotics coming in sachets which you do dissolve it, and they are pretty much resistant to our the stomach acid, but still it do reaches our large intestine, small intestines, and pretty much does the work. So that's why pre and probiotics in a nutshell is very important for the human gut. Probiotics needs something like a mother culture or a fiber which need to hook on to help itself in terms of digestive. So that's why pre and probiotics, but I think traditionally you have seen cow milk also is a probiotic, but due to pasteurization, we are losing a lot of those good bacteria. If you do get a very good raw milk, that can also serve as a probiotic. There's also fermented ginger, because I think ginger story is very much, I think a lot of people do not do understand, because ginger, when you peel off, you do lose some of those bacteria. So if you want to activate certain probiotics, you can pretty much take a raw ginger. The peel itself has a lot of bacteria. If you add some sugars on it and leave it for a day or two, it gets into a probiotic bacteria mode. And that can be made as a fizzy drink, what is called as a ginger beer. Because when you infuse some of these into a lemon water, it gives you a fizzy drink like Pepsi. But ginger beer is pretty much popular in other countries. But it's such a wonderful thing that if you have a good ginger raw, you can do a probiotics out of it. And cow ghee itself is not a probiotic, but it's a prebiotic. But that really helps, feed some of those bacteria. So these are something traditionally we have overlooked. That's where I just wanted to bring it. But as probiotic benefits are quite large in terms of your bowel movement, in terms of your digestive, eliminating diseases, and it helps in your digestion. So there's a lot more, but what I want to now focus is, this is what is the traditional methods. I've been in Europe, and Europe is pretty much uses a lot of this kefir and kombuchas. So these strains do come from some of these countries that we'll talk about it. ACV is a wonderful drink which can be used easily, but the quality matters. So I'll just talk about very specific ACVs, specific economs which helps, and kefir and kombuchas. So probiotics, as I told you, you have seen all these kombucha, sauerkraut, dairy products, soya, miso, but what we will now cover is kefir. So in terms of kefir, it is kind of a grains, but this kefir, as you start using it or start brewing it, you really can see the growing bacteria. It multiplies a lot. And you really don't get failures in this, because you don't get fungus and stuff like that. If the bottles are pretty much sterilized well, and if you use good sugars, and if you use non-chlorine water, it really brews well. So kefir, I've tried it, and sometimes people who are not, having problem with the dairy products, they can use coconut water kefirs. So that also is quite good. As you can see, the grains are small, but as you've seen the bottle, it quite multiplies itself. You can see a living probiotic growing in your jars. So this is one of the very nice, tasty kefir probiotics. As you can see, some of the water-based or a milk-based. Instead of using milk, you can always use water also, water in the sense coconut water, because that feeds some sugars to it. So those are the two types of kefir probiotics. But in terms of kefir benefits, it also can help you control your blood sugars, lower your cholesterols, digestive health, killing pathogens, and it works as a nutritional supplement also. And we have seen very good results in kefir. This is something which can be done very easily. You just have to make sure your hand is sanitized, your bottles are sterilized, then just pour in some cooled milk and just a few teaspoons of kefir. And in a day or two, you can start seeing kefirs multiplying. And it's so easy to drink and very tasty that you don't, and if you really want to slow down the process, keep it in a refrigerator, and that works. I think this is very much tested in some of the Western countries. But kefirs is something, if you want to in a detailed steps, this is what it is. But it is as simple as just throwing in some milk or an coconut water and just adding few teaspoons of culture of kefirs. So this is just a detailed step. But kombucha is another interesting thing. It's because it's made out of tea. But if you see the origin, it really started from China. It's right before Christ, 220 BC. And it spread through Japan, and then it went into Russia, Europe. And a lot of these countries still use kombuchas. And it's quite tasty drink because it is made out of green tea or a tea decoction. And this Scooby, if you start even with a small slice, this is how it multiplies. It becomes into 4-fold, 6-fold, and you can see a real growing bacteria or fungus in your bowl. And it tastes good. It's just that over a period of time, it can turn sour, so it's better to consume within a week. And this also has given a very good, poster for digestive drink. It has worked well. It is also called as mushroom tea. And if you see the layers I was talking about, you start with one layer, it just multiplies into so many layers. And it has worked very well with IBS and diarrheas, and it works as an antioxidant, protects the cell against damages. And it's quite beneficial and quite tasty. But this is also as simple as kefir. You can just make sure you boil some tea, cool it down, just add in some sugar and add a layer of kombuchas, and then it starts growing. And in a matter of 3-4 days, you can start consuming it. And why this is interesting is you can pretty much see a growing and multiplying bacteria or fungus, which is so good that you can pretty much keep replicating. You don't have to buy it. And it's been very traditional. I've talked about the history of it. It's before Christ, and it's quite very good drink. But kombucha tea is also made in some cases with unclean conditions, or they might use some kind of ceramic pots which has lid. So in those kind of drinks, it might not benefit you, or it might get you some kind of vomiting or something. So it's always buy freshly brewed kombuchas or from a known sources, or you do it yourself. You do get a very good benefit. So that's about kombuchas. And in terms of detailed steps, you don't need much other than a jar, a wooden spoon, and a cloth to tie it around. But another interesting and easy, if you don't want to brew it yourself, you just want to readily have something which can help you for gastric acidity, apple cider vinegar is great. Because ACV is also used with the peels. That works as a mother fiber with it. So always buy ACVs which have mother culture in it. And these should be an organic apples. And that's where you can see the apples in the last slide, it getting into different layers, or a kind of, it should be raw and unfiltered. Nowadays, you do get a lot of apple cider vinegars which are filtered or which is not organic. You will not get that benefit. So all these, probiotics will help if you do it yourself or if you buy a very good brand. So I'll just talk about one of it is when I was in Europe, I've been using Bragg. It's organically made in US and imported across Europe as well as now available in India. It's such a wonderful drink. I've tried it with a lot of my relatives or patients. Whenever you have indigestion, gastric, just try just 1 teaspoon of Bragg ACV into a glass of water, and it works miraculously in 5 minutes. You don't need an antacid. You don't need any kind of other, antacids. So these are very natural. The bacteria starts working, your digestion gets improved, and you don't have to take it daily. These are not something you have to repeat yourself for years and months. It just take it for 2-3 days, you can stop it. You just make sure your gut is quite conducive with prebiotics, and that sustains inside your stomach. So the ACV is the most easiest to use. As the mother is there, it stays in the bottle without getting spoiled. The more it ages, it is better. You don't have to feed anything to it. So buy a apple cider vinegar with mother culture, and you can always just use 1 teaspoon in a glass of water anytime. No brewing, no maintenance, nothing. So this is one of the very well tested and tried across Western countries. So it can be just 1 or 2 tablespoons or teaspoon. That's enough. That works very well. But what I've come across with few doctors is that Econom is one of the mostly used pharmaceutical probiotics. And why it is interesting is this was something which was, in 1923 it was found, and it has been used for more than 40 plus years in modern science. So if you really can't get hold of traditional probiotics, this is one of a very good strain which you can use. And the benefits are pretty much articulated here. But what I wanted to talk about is it also can help you in H. pylori's. It can also help you in some of the IBS diseases. And it's also very easy to get and use it. It's just that it has to be fed into some kind of sugar, so always use some fruit juices or some kind of sugary drinks, mix it, it gets activated. So this strain is pretty much highly tolerant to acid. It can pass through your stomach acids and reach your intestines. So that's why it's quite popular as econom, but the strain is called S. ballorodi. So this is something which is also available in market. So try these kind of, and as I told you, it is very to use. This is the sachet comes, you just take one sachet, put into a juice, mix it, and just start consuming it. So that's a kind of quick round I had because we have lack of time to need to cover this quickly. So if you have any questions, we can take that. Sorry? Yeah, just get rid of some kind of soil, that's all. Not to, too much of clean it or peel it. So just sprinkle some sugar or just smash it and put it into some sugar. In a day or two, the bacteria gets activated, and you can make a ginger beer out of it just by putting that a bit of culture that into a lemon water. But the chances of bottles getting exploded are quite high. That's why you need to make sure there's airlock mechanism, or else every day you release it if you put it into lemon water. Otherwise, if you just keep it as a strain, that's fine. You can keep it separate. But ginger has worked, so that's why try to use organic gingers. I've seen some of the miracles in ginger. The kind of ginger what you get in Western countries are quite highly organic and potent. So ginger also works very good as a digestive, but it also has a probiotic layer on the peel. And it can be pretty much universally used if you get the right ginger. I've used some of the ginger, highly potent ginger powders in Western countries, can take away migraines or digestive problems, but that's a quality of ginger we see in abroad. But here, we are using not that kind of, might be hybrid or genetically modified. But if you go into very good classical traditional gingers, and if you harvest it, you can see a lot of benefits in ginger. Sorry? Bragg apple cider vinegar is imported, so you get it in Amazon. That's the only place, because I've tried other locally brewed apple cider vinegars. Either it lacks mother, or it gets refined, or it is not done with an organic apple. So there's a lot of constraint. Why I prefer Bragg is that's a US product. I've seen it across Europe being used, and it doesn't need anything. You keep one bottle, it lasts for years. You just use as and when required. Probably take a 3-day course or a 5-day course, and you're pretty good in terms of your digestive enzymes and stuff like that. Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Any more questions?
I just curiosity, probiotic or whatever it is that, should it be before food or after food? Is there any such prescriptions for a better?
I would say after food, so that it can combine with your food and works as a digestive.
That base the forms of eating curd rice after food.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So why this topic is interesting is now we are in an era where everything is pretty much managed with antibiotics. So post antibiotics, there are good antibiotics also. I've been personally using ivermectin. That's a natural soil microbe antibiotics that really doesn't disturb your gut. So there are good antibiotics also, but what I'm saying is most of the overused or misused antibiotics can lead to gut issues. For that, I think these are simple to restore your gut flora and fauna. It just takes hardly a 3-day course. Beautifully it works. It just takes a lot of prebiotics to make sure these probiotics survive in your gut.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So in continuation with Madam told like after, before food, and my query is like in any diarrhea case in medical management, we give zinc for 14 days and maybe this probiotics for 1 week. So as such, how many days, you also mentioned while now talking, restoring the gut flora. So it's required all 365 days in a year, or some amount, like you need to repeat what you want to tell about the duration of
Yeah,
intake?
if you have a chronic diarrhea, I've seen more success in Ayurveda. There's something called Kutaj, or yeah. So if you use Kutaj, it immediately arrests the diarrheas, and for then you can pretty much add up probiotics to restore. Probably a week's is good enough. I've tried some of these just for a max a week, and it works beautifully. But the immediate is in Ayurveda, we take some of the herbs.
Yeah, that is with the disease part, sir. As a healthy person, so what is your recommendation? Like
For healthy person, I would say use it occasionally, probably a weekly or monthly once is good enough, or else use it as and when required when you really get disturbed with some kind of inflammatory foods. Otherwise, I really don't use it as a healthy person on a day-to-day basis. It's very SOS or just when on a weekly or monthly basis, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there's, yeah.
The leftover millets that you do it, and that for water you can have it. So that's also meant, I mean, supposed
Yeah,
to have.
ganji, yeah. They keep a cooked rice or a cooked millet in a mud pot, submerge it with water, and then let the, kind of bacteria develop overnight, and morning you just mix it with buttermilk and use it. I think that is something I've tried it. It works to some extent, but not like kefir and kombucha. These are live bacteria just growing out enormously. If they are not working, they don't grow. It goes dead. And I've seen better results with these rather than ganjis, whatever the kanji they say. I would prefer something like these, the live bacteria, which you can see and experience the growth.
And what about any Indian alternatives to kimchi? What is the foods that are locally
I think
done?
they do the beetroot kanji also, something like that.
That's very laborious, actually. The process
Yeah,
to make
I think
the
now
kanji.
they have developed one package where they are adding a bit of probiotic to make sure it doesn't get into fungus. They have just launched that. I have tried and failed in kanji because sometimes a fungus comes, and now I think they are adding an additional probiotic layer just to speed up the thing. So that is there, but that's why, these topics are more relevant because it really doesn't spoil. It doesn't, no challenges in this. And worst case, after using kefir and kombuchas to fix any of the IBS issues, post that, I only resorted to using ACV because that's, you don't have to feed it. The mother culture is there. The bacteria are feeding on for years, and it just beautifully works.
Yeah, I think because of the constraints in the time, I think we'll close this session. Thank you very much, Dr. Santhosh, for the wonderful presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
We sincerely thank Dr. Sunil Kumar DR and Dr. Bharat Konan for skillfully chairing this session and offering their valuable perspectives. We are also deeply appreciative of our speaker, Dr. Santhosh Hanumanthappa, for delivering an engaging and thought-provoking presentation. Your contributions have greatly enhanced the depth and quality of our discussions. On behalf of the organizing committee, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for our support and active participation. Now I request our chairpersons to give a small memento to our speaker. Kulkarni sir or Deepa ma'am, or you only can do sir?
Rupal Sharat sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Sharad sir to give a small memento to our chairperson. Thank you, sir. It gives me immense joy to introduce to you a very special initiative of the Karnataka Association of Preventive and Social Medicine, the Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba Oration, which is being instituted this year at KARCON. Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, revered the world over as a humanitarian and spiritual leader, dedicated his life to the service of society through education, healthcare and nutrition, all offered completely free of cost to millions without discrimination. His vision has been to build a healthier, happier and more compassionate world, which is also the guiding spirit for this oration. Each year, this prestigious oration will be conferred upon one distinguished public health specialist who has made outstanding contributions in the field of public health, research, policy or community service. This platform is intended to inspire younger generations, highlight exemplary work in public health and remind us all of our collective responsibility towards society's well-being. We are deeply grateful to Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba and to Sadguru Sri Madhusudan Sai for their blessings and support in instituting this award and to SMSIMSR for sponsoring it. With immense pleasure, now I invite Dr. Lalita, Professor Community Medicine from MS Ramaya Medical College, and Dr. Poonam R. Naik, Professor Community Medicine, Enapoya Medical College, Mangalore, for chairing the next session. Dr. Poonam R. Naik, Doctor of Medicine in Community Medicine from Mumbai University, India. She completed FAMER Fellowship at GSMC FAMER Regional Institute, Mumbai, sponsored by Foundation for Advancement of International Medical Education and Research, Philadelphia, United States, and currently working as Professor in Community Medicine at Enapoya Medical College, Bengaluru. She has worked as World Health Organization RNTCP Medical Consultant. She is a national level trainer for Structured Operational Research Training Initiative, sought IT course of International Union Against Tuberculosis and Lung Diseases and operational research courses conducted by the Union and Central TB Division, India. Actively involved in research, PI and co-PI for various funded research projects. She has more than 50 research publications in indexed national and international scientific journals. She is also a research guide for Masters in Community Medicine, PhD Fellows, PG Diploma in Bioethics and Medical Ethics, FAMER Fellows, ICMR Short-Term Studentship Program for MBBS undergrads. She is currently the President of IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter. Dr. K. Lalita, MD, DNB, MIPHA, MAMS, Professor and former Head of the Department of Community Medicine at Ramaya Medical College, Bengaluru. She completed her graduation and post-graduation from Kempagowda Institute of Medical Sciences. Her research interests include healthcare waste management, geriatrics, tuberculosis, and immunization. She currently serves as coordinator of the Healthcare Waste Management Cell, member of HICC Committee, and program in charge for the certificate course on biomedical waste management by IGNOU. Dr. Lalita has conducted numerous training programs and workshops at state, national, and international levels and is a key coordinator for the UNIDO project on environmentally sound management of medical waste in India, covering 160 health facilities across 5 states. She has led training initiatives, developed manuals, and implemented projects supported by WHO, ICMR, and other organizations, including research on tuberculosis and post-COVID health issues. During her tenure as professor and HOD, her department achieved milestones such as NAC accreditations, new curriculum implementation, and innovative programs. She hosted the 32nd State Annual Conference of the Karnataka Association of Community Health in 2020 and currently leads a WHO project on biomedical and vaccine waste management. With over 35 publications in peer-reviewed journals, she has been honored with the Young Scientist Award, the Catch Millennium Award, RUAS Faculty Researcher Award, and recognition as a member of the National Academy of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sandhya, for your kind introduction. I thank the organizers for giving us this opportunity, and it's indeed an honor to introduce Dr. Gopal Krishna Gururaj, who has been the recipient of this prestigious award. Sir, let me have the honor of welcoming Dr. Gururaj sir on stage and introducing the speaker. Dr. Gopal Krishna Gururaj is a renowned public health leader and former director and senior professor at NIMHANS, Bengaluru, where he also headed the WHO Collaborating Center for Injury Prevention and Safety Promotion. With over four decades of experience, he has played a pivotal role in shaping India's public health landscape through his work in epidemiology, health system strengthening, road safety, mental health, and injury prevention. He has been instrumental in developing national health policies and strategies, including road safety framework, suicide prevention programs, drowning prevention initiatives, and trauma care guidelines. As the chairman of the Karnataka Health Vision Group, he led the state's long-term health reform strategy. Dr. Gururaj has also advised international organizations such as WHO, World Bank, and UNICEF, as well as governments across Asia and Africa on diverse health challenges, including non-communicable disease and emergency care systems. His pioneering contribution include leading the National Mental Health Survey of India and establishing national level injury surveillance systems, providing a strong evidence base for policy decisions. A prolific researcher, he has published extensively in peer-reviewed journals and directed multiple large-scale multi-sectoral studies. His exceptional contribution to research have earned him prestigious honors, including the World Bank VPU Team Award 2024, Dr. Raja Ramanna State Award 2017, along with recognition among the top 2% of scientists globally by Stanford University. As a global representative, Dr. Gururaj has participated in international conferences and expert panels, fostering collaboration in public health and safety worldwide. A passionate mentor, he is committed to capacity building, nurturing the next generation of public health professionals. His leadership has been particularly impactful in road traffic prevention, trauma care systems, and integrating mental health within broader public health programs and ensuring sustainable community-driven solutions for population health. I think this is a very miniature introduction of Dr. Gururaj, sir. Over to you for this oration.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity to be here with all of you this afternoon. And I'm indeed blessed, privileged, and honored to be here to communicate about the role of health systems in advancing people's health, which is one of the important necessities of today's health scenario. As I was looking back into what has happened in the past, I came across this particular message from Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba many, many years back, where it talks about being truthful, righteous, peaceful, loving, and also non-violent, which are essential and core elements for a healthy and a harmonious living in a person's life, in a society life, and at a global level as well. In today's turbulent and chaotic world that we live in, these principles are very essential for us to really understand what health is and how any of these things contribute in different ways to health. If you are in love with your society, with your neighbors, with your family, and with your, with whom you work on a regular basis, or with whom you live on a regular basis, many problems can be really addressed at an individual and a societal level. So I would like to take from there that key messages of Sri Bhagwan Sathya Sai Baba and then move towards how do we shape our health systems in the coming days and years. Not that nothing has happened. There are many developments that have taken place in the past, including our proclamations to achieve universal health coverage using the primary health care approach. But at the same time, we have several challenges and crises in our current healthcare delivery system. And a health systems approach is the one that has always been recommended and which the government of India and many government Indian states recognize as an important thing, but which has also faced several roadblocks. I'm sure you are able to see this. We are not talking something new. Health has always been a part of the yesteryears years, and it will always be a problem for the future. In the early days, we were facing many communicable, infectious, nutritional, vaccine-related, environmental problems, which we have sort of addressed to some degree, and we have received some success in that. We have made some good progress in some of those traditional problems of the yesteryears. But today, as the world has transitioned into a different level, we are faced with many known, unknown, and unrecognized problems. And these vary from pandemics, epidemics, wars, safety and security issues, nutrition-related issues, which affects every person on this planet, and which also throws up many new things because of technology use, because of the modern artificial intelligence or many other things. There are many known and unknown challenges that are in front of us today. Amidst all these challenges, we have also committed, like every other country in the world, to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, and all of you are familiar with the third one, which talks about the good health concept. Our approach to this has been through universal health coverage, and universal health coverage basically emphasizes access to healthcare and varieties of healthcare within that, preventive, promotive, curative, rehabilitative and all that, and of a good quality, and it should be effective, and at the same time, it should not expose the population to financial hardship. These really appear very challenging in today's times. Access to healthcare of a very good quality and of an efficient method without causing financial problems. At the same time, the primary healthcare approach also emphasizes it is not only treating people who come to the hospitals as sick, but talking about preventive healthcare, promotive healthcare, and also for those who require care, curative, as well as rehabilitative and palliative, a variety of services. We just heard from our previous speakers how efforts can be taken up to improve one's own health by understanding the basic physiology and biochemistry of every human being. But these two, universal health coverage and primary health care, remain the core pillars of our healthcare system, which is important. And doing this in a country like India with a population of 1.4 billion is also a huge challenge, because even though we have a demographic dividend, we also have a crisis and a challenge associated with it on several fronts. I'm sure some of you would have seen this report of 2017, where India is a nation within nation. And it outlined the epidemiological transition that we have undergone, where we have shifted from traditional communicable infectious diseases to modern non-communicable challenges that are associated with us. And today, NCDs and injuries are a major thing. But at the same time, in this population of 1.4 billion, everything is found to be important. Everything that is looked at or addressed is important. It only depends on what you are reading, what you are listening, what you are witnessing, or what you are surfing, or where you are sitting. Because each one is considered a specialization, and we are moving into that era. And then we are also into a space where super specialization and high-tech healthcare is taking over precedence. And it is important that we are rediscovering the earlier methods, some of which we had. For example, the family doctor program, which was there for many, many years, with which some of the older generations are familiar, are the governments are now finding the importance of that and trying to promote courses to promote family practice. There is a new WHO project which has started on social connectedness. In fact, somebody from WHO, while I was talking to them, asked me who should be the chairman. I said, my grandmother should be the chairperson for this. For the simple reason, my grandmother enjoyed such close connectivity with family members, with the society, with the area she was living in. Everyone used to recognize her. She used to recognize everybody. There was no need for a new connectivity issue there. But now we are discovering that we need to be socially connected, and we are promoting methods for that. But what I'm trying to say is that some of the things we lost, we are trying to rediscover and trying to put them in place. Many of you are very familiar with these graphs. I will not go into the details where our disease positions are changing on a regular basis. Similarly, the risk factors are changing. Now today we have high systolic blood pressure, increased blood sugar levels, high cholesterol, hyperlipidemia levels, air pollution, which are all becoming major risk factors for a number of diseases that we are seeing. We measure these things in different ways and try to come up with what is number one, number two, while every problem is equally important. And it all depends on what case definitions we use, the classification methods, the guidelines. For example, recently, the American guidelines mentioned that for the hypertension, the new revised guidelines should be 120 and 80 and not more than that. Now, with that one change in guideline, there will be millions and millions of people who will be getting into the hypertensive bracket, and they would be undergoing different types of modalities of management to bring it under control, because that is what the guideline. Similarly, we see several guidelines coming up in different areas, which is refining the practice of medicine, but at the same time makes it more challenging to manage as well. The source of data, the nature of studies, many of these things. This may be a little complicated. When we talk about any health condition, we say what is called as determinants of health or as causes of causes. What we see as cardiovascular disease today is not something that originated on its own. There are several underlying multiple layers of etiology that contributes to that happening. What happens to a person depends basically on where that person was born, how he has grown, what environment he has lived in, what type of pressures he has been subjected to, what has been his childhood experiences, what has been his past life, his family environment. Many of these things shape an individual's life and its practice. There are certain things which are genetically modifiable. This is an example for a childhood injury situation where we cannot change age or gender or some genetic predisposition of that particular child. But at the same time, you have many other things that are in different proportions very important for contributing to that particular injury scenario. It could just be availability of faster cars. We invent faster cars and we allow these vehicles by building our roads in such a way that they can drive at 150, 160 kilometers per hour. And if a child is in a village crossing the road to go to a school on the other side, the child can get easily hit and die. And we can't blame a child that this child was negligent. Similarly, many children you see on the road, when they are going with their parents, they don't wear any helmets. They don't wear any seat belts. In fact, mothers feel so proud to carry their children in the front seat of the car, and if the car meets with an accident, it will be the child which will be the first person to die, because the child doesn't have that much of body strength to tolerate the force of the impact of a car crash. or a scooter crash. So there are many other things that are modifiable, the products we use. We see hundreds of people using mobile phones while driving. And that's a very risky situation when it comes to the occurrence of a road traffic injury. So there are a number of other things that contribute, and ultimately we say that a person was negligent or was not attentive enough. In fact, in the hospitals, we say when a person with traumatic brain injury lands up, we say, "Yakaya nodkondo gotaagtirrilva roadalli." This is a common thing we say, but we don't realize the vehicle which came was very fast, the road was very badly designed, the environment was poor, the time that lapsed for him to come to hospital was huge. So the point I'm trying to say is, nothing happens in isolation on its own. There are many contributing factors which we call as determinants of health, and these determinants contribute in a very big way for that. And as preventive and social medicine people, it is our responsibility, it's our duty to look at beyond disease to see what is it that is happening in our societies and what can be modified. So in the last few decades, we have noticed some success. There are many new challenges, like for the NCDs, non-communicable diseases. There are many new threats. COVID, no one expected, but that came and which really changed the whole world. There are emerging concerns, safety, security, wars, pandemics. Many of these things are all today in front of us. This is just some data from a recent study that was completed at NIMHANS, where we surveyed nearly 3,500 young people in 15 to 29 years in Kolar district, which is right next to us. You will see that among the youth, which is the 15 to 29 years, where you expect everyone to be healthy and happy, you will see that a lot of them have so many health impacting behaviors that should be of real concern to all of us. Many of them don't follow safety practices. Their sleep is affected. Malnutrition and obesity, they coexist in equal numbers. In fact, yesterday UNICEF has released a report where malnutrition and obesity are almost in equal numbers. We were only talking about undernutrition, malnutrition, stunting and others, but obesity, overweight are now overtaking in our society. We have at least about 8 to 10% of young people who are already pre-diabetics or diabetics. There are many who are hypertensives. People will, this data is just new from the Center for Public Health at NIMHANS, which surveyed about 3,500 people on a one-to-one basis, and nearly you see about 20 types of different problems which all operate together, which coexist, which impact one another, and ultimately lead to certain types of health problems which remain with us for the whole of our life. And when these problems affect us, which start during the early years of our life, they are chronic in nature, they are progressive, they increase in the severity over a period of time, the risk factors are all somewhat similar, they affect the productive years of your life, they pose greater economic hardships. In fact, today, if the average individual with a diabetes will have to spend about 2,000 rupees per month, somewhere between 1,000 to 2,000. And if you look at a person who gets admitted to a hospital with a road accident, if he stays there for 5 to 6 days, their bill will be at least 1.5 to 1.8 lakhs. And this is what we have actually studied. So they are very expensive, they lead to a lot of disabilities, they lead to poor quality of life and high treatment gap. And these are something which needs to be affected in a big way. This is some very recent paper which has been published by Mohan and group, the Madras Diabetes Foundation group, which shows that almost 1 in 3 families today have a person with diabetes. And there are times when there are more than one person with diabetes, where it is so critical that managing it in the early stages, or by bringing healthy lifestyles, or by focusing at a time of youth and adolescent, plays a very big role in preventing the onset, progress, and chronicity of diabetes. And if you look at the elderly with diabetes, those who are after 60 or 70, nearly 30 to 40% of them will have multiple complications affecting the heart, the kidneys, the eyes, and the brain. Can our health systems respond adequately to this? While we are looking at more only managing diabetes, we also need to look at the prevention, we also look at the complications. Are our health systems prepared for that? Similarly, with road traffic injuries, where in India nearly about 200,000 people die every year in road crashes, and most of them are young people. Most of them are young. 2 lakh people. Is there any big voice or noise coming for this? We accept it. And we have learned to live with this. Similarly, if we look at the mental health scenario, we have the severe mental disorders, we have common mental disorders like depression, anxiety, phobias. Nearly 10 to 15% of the population suffer from depression, anxiety. We have similarly substance use disorders, with tobacco and alcohol being the most prominent ones. And then suicidality. Every day we hear about suicides in higher institutions, in colleges, in families, in rural areas, in farmers. So everywhere suicide is a problem. Again, every year in India, about 2 lakh people end their lives in a suicidal act. And for every suicide, there are at least 200 people who are thinking about a suicidal ideation. 200, the ratio is 1:20:100, and it's a huge problem. Elderly, if you look at it, those who are 60 and then above, they have multiple problems. Problems with vision, respiratory system, metabolic conditions, cancers, many different type of health problems. So elderly health care is something which is very much required. But even though we have a national health program for the care of the elderly, it is still in a very early stage and has still not gained the roots. Amidst all of this, we have the technology issues. We have these great statements by big people who promote artificial intelligence, but the users of technology, abusers of technology, the harmful users of technology, the addictive users of technology, they're all in so much, and we often hear big problems affecting youth. There are family issues, there are child academic issues, there are many different types of issues. So the human cost of evolving technology is something we have not understood. For example, take the instance of the online games, which has been banned about a week back. Millions of people have been affected, and we got the regulation only recently. Not that we were not aware of. It was known, but nothing happened. But something is happening now. We need to see how it goes. Climate change, thing that we have still not understood. Last week we heard about Himachal Pradesh. Year before we heard about Wayanad. And before that we heard about Delhi. And year to that before it was in Chennai. And everywhere we have many new different health problems due to climate change. Amidst all this, our health systems have not been able to respond adequately because of different disparities. There is access to care problem, quality care is an issue, and the costs of health care are increasing. Institutions like this, which provide free health care, are just a jewel in the crown. But such jewels are very rare to find. The cost of healthcare today in a corporate private healthcare sector is unbelievable. And as per the National Family Health Survey, about 70% of the healthcare in India is delivered by the private sector, only 30% by the government sector. It is the crisis really in short. But what is important is a state like Karnataka implements nearly 70 to 80 healthcare programs. From tuberculosis, from AIDS and HIV, to cancer, to non-communicable disease, to RKSK, to RBSK, to newborn program. Are our health systems able to justify what they are able to do and deliver what they are expected to do? And it cannot happen in a vacuum. We need all these different ingredients for our health systems to work. One of my major areas of work has been on health systems over time. We need, from health policy, action, drugs, laboratories, health workforce, health financing, technology, everything we need, and these are all the different components. Even if one component is weak or not working, the whole system, collapses. Take a simple thing like if diabetes medications don't reach a Ayushman Bharat Wellness Center for 1 month, what happens? Nobody gets medicines. And what happens? Their blood sugar levels increase. Their health status worsens. So the problem is, each one of these are very critical elements in the larger health system. And these components will have to be tied up in a way that they are able to work very efficiently and at the same time effectively. And the most critical part of it is the health workforce. We need variety of healthcare workers in our health systems who can deliver different type of services, and they have to deliver the right type of services. It could be a doctor, it could be a specialist, to a A&M or a community health officer or a ASHA worker. We need different types of health workers who should do their roles very effectively in a way that they are able to deliver that. I will not get into this particular slide because it's a bit complicated, but what we need is a framework for our healthcare delivery system where we need education, we need financing, we need legislation, we need health manpower, we need monitoring, we need evaluation, we need education, public education, we need advocacy, and all this need to work with intersectoral coordination. And this is the biggest challenge for all of us. When I go and talk to a police officer about a road accident, he will say, don't tell me, you go and talk to the BBMP people. When I go to BBMP, they will say, you go to transport department. When I go to transport, they will say, you go to urban development department. Urban development will say, you go to health department. Health department will say, government will have to say. And who is the government? All these people are government. So the problem is, there is need for a larger intersectoral coordination, integration, all this need to be built up, and the health system building blocks serve as a core foundation which is built on delivery, workforce, information, products and devices, financing, and other things. So we did a collective exercise a few years back in Karnataka where about 200, 250 people, doctors and other category of people came together to look at what is it the Karnataka vision over time should be. And we finally came up, after a lot of series of discussions and debates and exchange, we need to do 5 things that are very, very critical to us. And these are just in principle, but requires greater thinking and ways to adapt this and implement this in our health systems. The first one is we need to have the right interventions for any of the problems you take. Merely scratching the surface won't help. We need to have interventions that are evidence-based, that are technology-enabled, that are cost-effective, and which are sustainable. India is known to suffer from pilot projects. This is very clearly documented as well. It's called pilotitis. Though it has not entered the ICD-11 book, it is very well in practice. All our pilot projects work beautifully. Fantastic it is. But the day the project funds are over, that will be the last day of the project also. And what happens next? We need to ask others. Yeah, I'll finish. So the choice is in doing the difficult right or the easy wrong. We need to choose. The next important I is implementation. And there is this new report released by the National Health Research Center which shows how each of these states are making progress. And the implementation status is really tardy and slow in quite a few of the states. Not that we can't implement. Look at this graph where you will see for stroke, for road accidents, significant progress made along the world in terms of reducing. And even in India, polio, when I was a house surgeon, I used to see many polio children walking into the outpatient departments, and we were trying to help them in different ways. Today we don't have polio. So not that we can't do it. We can do it, but we need to have the right way of doing it. Look at our diabetes graph. It is almost on the increase. It was almost, now we are at around 100 million people who are diabetics. We need to innovate in many things, and there are many experiments going on in India. One of the things was we started the Center for Public Health to integrate mental health into the public health systems. And in 10 years, we have done several experiments which have all been sustained, which have all got integrated, which have also helped in building up the different components of mental health into this. Today, from a national program, we have the Taluka level mental health program that has been going on. Integration is the other one where vertical, I said about 100 programs are being implemented, and each one tries to operate vertically. There is a separate training program for this, there is a separate program. In fact, I remember a friend of mine, a classmate of mine, who was in Bangalore but who was posted somewhere far away. I used to see him quite regularly, and I asked him, how come you are mostly found here? He said, boss, I am on training program every time I am in Bangalore. So he's on this training program, he's on another training program, he's on another training program. So he keeps on going around training programs. So the whole year he spends time in training. But there is plenty of opportunity to integrate, and US Spandana, one of the programs initiated by NIMHANS by Dr. Pradeep, who is here, integrates youth mental health into the larger areas of health, education, family life, value systems, reproductive and sexual health, employment generation, skill development, into many other areas by also bringing in life skills into it, which are critical parts for the whole process. And we need investment. Nothing will happen without investment. Investment means not just in terms of rupees, but in terms of the human resources, technology, and many others. All this takes time. We need to be continuously working on this. This is my last slide, and I want to leave you with this, a very familiar concept to all of you. If we can make this one program work 100% effectively, we would have addressed 70% of our health problems. And they all take care of the problems at the early stage, at the community level, by the local people, without much expenditure, using the current health systems. So while healthcare is vital to all of us, some of the time, public health is vital to all of us, all the time. Thank you very much, and thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. That was a very holistic and very enriching session filled with all your experiences that we could gather the knowledge from. Thank you for this. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. We are deeply grateful to our speaker, Dr. Gururaj, for this engaging and insightful session. And thank you, Dr. Lalita and Dr. Poonam Naik, for chairing this session. On behalf of the organizing committee, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for your support and active participation. Now, I request Dr. Annarao Kulkarni, Dr. Sunil Kumar DR, Secretary KAPSM, and our chairperson, Dr. Poonam R. Naik and Dr. Lalita K, to felicitate Dr. Gururaj for having conferred the first Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba oration. I said that is. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Annarao Kulkarni to present a small memento to our chairperson, Dr. Poonam Naik. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I request Dr. Sunil Kumar DR to present a small memento to our chairperson, Dr. Lalita. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Hamsa and Dr. Tanuja and team from IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter to take over the stage.
Good afternoon all. I am Dr. Tanuja Patankar, GC member of IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter.
Good afternoon all. I am Dr. Hamsa, GC member IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter.
It gives us immense pleasure to be on the stage today for felicitation and award ceremony, which is instilled for the first time by IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter. For this, I would like to call President, Secretary, Vice Presidents, Joint Secretaries, Treasurer and Senior Advisors of IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter to come on the stage to do the honors.
Continue.
We will now present the Lifetime Achievement Award 2025, which was sponsored by Shri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, Muddenahalli, from here on. I call Dr. Hemgiri, Professor and Head, Karwar Institute of Medical Sciences, Karwar, to do the honor of reading the achievement of our first Lifetime Achievement Award winner.
Ladies and gentlemen, with deep respect and immense pride, I announce the first Lifetime Achievement Award winner of IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter, Dr. Annarao G. Kulkarni sir, for his outstanding and sustained contribution to public health. I welcome you on dais, sir.
Good evening, everyone. So it gives me immense pleasure to introduce Dr. Annarao G. Kulkarni. Annarao G. Kulkarni, MBBS, MD, DPH, DHA. He was a National President, Indian Association of Preventive and Social Medicine for the tenure 2024-25. He was the President, IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter for 6 years. Founder, President, Intercollegiate Academic Program for Postgraduates. He was a Technical Advisory Group member. Presently, he is working as a Professor, Community Medicine Department at Shri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, Muddenahalli, Karnataka. Dr. Kulkarni obtained his MBBS in the year 1978 from KMC Hubli and completed his diploma in public health in 1980 and MD in preventive and social medicine in 1981, both from Lokmanya Tilak Municipal Medical College, Mumbai. He further obtained diploma in hospital administration from Tata Institute of Medical Sciences, Mumbai in 1988. He has completed diploma in yoga in the year 2004 and diploma in yoga therapy in 2006, both from Gantali Mitra Mandal, Thane. He started his career as tutor in P&SM in TN Medical College, Mumbai in May 1979. After completing his post-graduation, he has promoted to the post of reader in P&SM at LTM Medical College, Mumbai in October 1982. In 1987, he was selected as primary health care specialist by Ministry of Health, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for establishing primary health care system in Gizan province of Saudi Arabia. This was adjusted as the best in the country by a team from WHO. After returning to India, he joined as Associate Professor in the Department of P&SM in Terna Medical College, Navi Mumbai in December 1996. He was promoted to the post of Professor in the year 2000. From November 2004 to November 2005, he worked as a preventive medicine specialist in the Ministry of Health, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and established preventive medicine department under Deputy Minister of Health, Riyadh. He joined KJ Somaya Medical College in Mumbai as professor and head of preventive medicine department from November 2005 to November 2007. Based on his experience, he was invited by KVG Medical College, Sullia, and worked from 2007 to 2019 and was part of the core team for starting PG course in all subjects. In October 2019, he joined East Point Medical College as professor and continued till October 2023. He was instrumental in starting PG course in EPMC. Since October 2023, he is working in Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences. Here, some of his achievements. Okay. He was the first to Mumbai University in DPH and MD, established the biggest urban health center in Dharavi, Mumbai. He was an important team member in establishing primary health care system in Gizan province of Saudi Arabia. He was a major role developing Terna Medical College and KVG Medical College. So he was the youngest invited participant in national workshop on child labor and health in Mumbai in 1982, jointly organized by WHO Geneva and TSS Mumbai. Worked as a resource person to Mumbai District AIDS Control Society from 1999 to 2000. Carried out HIV AIDS awareness program in schools and college for Mumbai. He has worked with the WHO as a surveillance medical officer during polio eradication program in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, he was selected by Ministry of Health, Libya, for developing community medicine department in Missouri University Faculty of Medicine in the year 2010. So he was a technical advisory group member, Ministry of Health, Government of India for developing revised guidelines for home-based newborn care and home-based young child care. He was a trained yoga teacher and a Bhagavad Gita teacher, integrating yoga and Bhagavad Gita teachings in medical trainings. In collaboration with the faculty from IIT Bombay, NIN Director and PhD Institute of Medical Sciences, Coimbatore, organized a national symposium and nutrition for lifetime health at PhD Institute. So these are the very few achievements. So still more to read. So I congratulate Dr. Annarao G. Kulakarni for his achievement. Okay, over to you.
Thank you all. I would now request Dr. Annarao G. Kulkarni sir to share few words with us.
नाहं कर्ता हरिः कर्ता तत्पूजा कर्म चाखिलं तथापि मत्कृता पूजा तत्प्रसादेन नान्यथा आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति च मनोरथाः. Respected dignitaries, guests, dear colleagues, friends, and dear delegates, I stand before you today with a heart filled with gratitude, humility, and joy. Receiving this Lifetime Achievement Award in Community Medicine is not just a personal honor, it is a recognition of the shared journey I have been privileged to walk alongside so many dedicated individuals. Community medicine is not merely a profession, it's a calling a commitment to serve populations, not just patients, to prevent disease before it occurs, and to advocate for those whose voices are often unheard. Over the decades, I have learned that the true measure of our work is not the number of policies written, the number of programs launched, the number of papers published, but in the lives touched, the communities empowered, and the future generations made healthier. I accept this award not as a culmination of my career, but as a reminder of the responsibility that still lies ahead. Whatever I have achieved has been possible because of the unwavering support of my mentors, the collaboration of my colleagues, the enthusiasm of my students, and the trust of communities I have had the privilege to serve. The most important support I received all throughout my work is from my parents, my wife, and my children. Without their support and encouragement, it would not have been possible for me to achieve this much in my life. I dedicate this recognition to the public health warriors who work silently in the field, the ASHA workers walking miles in the summer heat, Anganwadi workers, the primary health center team managing outbreaks in remote villages, the epidemiologist analyzing the data late into the night, all of whom are the real heroes of community medicine. To the younger generation of public health professionals, I say our field may not always be glamorous, but it is indispensable. The challenges will be many, but so will the rewards be, measured not in titles or awards, but in healthier families, longer lives, and more equitable societies. As I receive this award, I do so with gratitude for the past, humility in the present, and hope for the future. Let us continue to build healthier, more inclusive, and more compassionate world together. Vani rasavati yasya yasya sramavati kriya lakshmi danavati yasya safalam tasya jivitam. This means one whose speech is delightful, sweet, and pleasant. This can represent clear communication to the communities, insightful words, or inspiring leadership. Yasya sramavati kriya means one whose actions are diligent, industrious, and full of effort. This points to a sustained hard work and dedication over lifetime. Lakshmi Danavati, one whose wealth is used for giving the charity. This signifies generosity and a positive impact on society. Safalam tasya jivitam, his life is successful. The combination of these qualities make a life truly fulfilled and meaningful. I thank you all for honoring this Lifetime Achievement Award in recognition of my fellow workers, my team members, and it is definitely not only my work. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Let us now move on to Young Scientist Award 2025. This was also installed for the first time by IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter. To brief regarding the process, I call upon Dr. Sharad BN from ESIC Medical College. Sir, please come on the stage.
Respected dignitaries, esteemed colleagues, and dear young researchers, it is a proud moment for the Indian Association of Preventive and Social Medicine Karnataka chapter, founded in 2015, as we install the Young Scientist Award in Public Health Research today. This award reflects our commitment to nurturing the next generation of public health leaders. Public health research is not just about data and publications. It is about saving lives, reducing sufferings, and ensuring healthier communities. Every major achievement in our field, from immunization to TB and HIV control, has been built on the foundation of research. Through this award, we aim to encourage young minds to ask bold questions, innovate, and translate evidence into action. We believe the passion and creativity of our youth can shape policies, strengthen systems, and bring equity in healthcare. Let this Young Scientist Award be a symbol of inspiration, reminding us that every small step in research can create lasting change in society. For this year's award, the process we adopted was both rigorous and transparent. We received 20 applications in total, From these, 5 stood out, leading to a fierce competition. The evaluation was then conducted by 3 blinded reviewers, and in addition, 3 objective criteria were applied to ensure fairness and merit-based selection. This makes this award not only prestigious, but also credible. I would request and call upon Dr. Suman from Mysore Medical College for this year Young Scientist Award for Public Health Research.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the one of the young minds shaping the future of public health, our first young scientist, IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter, Dr. Sumant MM, Assistant Professor, Department of Community Medicine, Mysore Medical College and Research Institute. Kindly, I request the dignitaries on the dais to honor him.
This award is being sponsored by Dr. Sunil Kumar DR, Secretary IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter, Dr. Sharad BN, Joint Secretary IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter, and Dr. Hamsa, GC Member IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter. Thank you, sir. And congratulations to Dr. Sumant. Let us also don't forget our founding member of IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter. They are pillars of our association. I call Dr. Umesh Ramdur, Professor, SNMC Medical College, Bagalkot, for further proceedings. I welcome you, sir.
Good evening. We take this opportunity to respect our founder members of IAPSM Karnataka State Chapter. For this, I invite Dr. Vinay M., Professor, Mandya Institute of Medical Sciences, Mandya, Dr. Hemgiri K., Professor and Head at Karwar Institute of Medical Sciences, Karwar, Dr. B.S. Manapur, Professor, S. Nishingappa Medical College, Bagalkote, Dr. Sharad B.N., Professor, ESIC Medical College, Bengaluru, and Dr. Poonam S., Professor, Mandya Institute of Medical Sciences, Mandya. Please, I invite them on the stage. Dr. Poonima S., Professor, Mandya Institute of Medical Sciences, Mandya. I request our President, Dr. Poonam Nayak ma'am, our Secretary, Dr. Sunil sir, and our Senior Professor, Dr. Anaro Kulkarni sir, and other seniors to felicitate our founder members. Dr. Vinay M., Professor at Mandya Institute of Medical Sciences, with immense gratitude, we honor him, whose dedication and steadfast support has strengthened the activities of IAPSM KCS and inspired the generations of community medicine professionals. Dr. Vinay has been the treasurer of the association till date. His role in getting the association registered under the Societies Act and in creating the bank account and PAN card has laid the strong administrative foundation for IAPSM KCS. we are privileged to felicitate Dr. Hemgiri K., Professor and Head at Karwar Institute of Medical Sciences, Karwar. Sir is a guiding force in establishing our Karnataka state chapter. His constant encouragement and vision have been instrumental in nurturing the association since its inception. Sir has been the founder secretary and has a key role as advisor for the association. I request the office bearers, president and secretary to do the honors. Thank you all. Now we felicitate Dr. B.S. Manapur, Professor at SMSIMSR Medical College, Bagalkote, whose relentless commitment and encouragement have played a key role in shaping the identity of our state chapter. And also, he is a motivating member. He has served the association as a GC member and worked as Joint Secretary from 2018 to 2022 and has contributed for the growth of the association. I request our office bearers, President and Secretary to felicitate Dr. B.S. Manapur, sir. I request Dr. Ravindra Reddy, sir, to join our office bearers to felicitate the founder members. Thank you, sir. It's our proud to felicitate Dr. Sharad BN, who has been a pillar of support for the association. His contributions in fostering academic growth and unity among members have been invaluable. Dr. Sharad has coordinated and facilitated for the conduct of workshop on operational research under the association banner. We appreciate his efforts as serving the association as Joint Secretary. I request the dignitaries to make the honors. Thank you all. With great respect, we felicitate Dr. Purnima, Professor, Mandya Institute of Medical Sciences, Mandya, whose unwavering dedication and active involvement have greatly contributed to the growth and visibility of IAPSM KCS. As a founder GC member, Madam's contribution to the association is significant. I also request all the governing council members to join to felicitate Madam on the stage.
I request all GC members to come on the stage.
Thank you all.
With this, we come to the end of award ceremony. Thank you all.
We have the next inaugural session starting at 5 o'clock in the presence of Honorable Shri Sadhguru Madhusudan Sai. I request all the delegates to quickly finish coffee and snacks at Vidyadeep, that is after we exit this hall.